everybody. Hope lots of people are interested in the elemental kingdom because it's such a beautiful and fascinating subject. And of course, we're surrounded by the elementals all the time. Fairies and the elves and the fauns. And hello, Freya. I don't know, you sit there obviously waiting to be number one. It's lovely always to see your name come up. And somebody's actually given me a heart while we're talking about the elementals. Hello, Philip and Cheryl. Hi, everybody. Hi, Patricia and Maggie. Never known why some people come up green and some people don't. And Alicia, oh, thank you. So grateful for this angelic and very elemental emoji. Lovely. And Annette, hi. Is that one hand clapping on your emoji? That's interesting. I think this is going to be very interesting tonight. Some people have sent some lovely stories, and I want to share some of my own and some of the experiences that I've had and that you can also have. And so I tell you what, let's have the card that I picked just a second ago before we came on air. The hedgehog. He jumped out, and it's be a magnet for love, light, and joy. And of course, he works with Archangel Gabriel. When you link to Gabriel and you connect to your hedgehog, then you also connect into the masters of Orion, because hedgehogs come from Orion, and they are able to impart wisdom to you and help you to move on to a wisdom pathway. Isn't that fantastic? What a beautiful card for Spirit, the angels, to choose for us tonight. And here we are. I also picked a dragon card, and to my delight, the rose pink dragon came out. Now, the reason I was so pleased was, hello, Sophia and Sheetal. Oh, nice to see you. And I thought, oh, I was going to show a particular orb tonight, and I'd completely forgotten. And of course, it was the rose pink orb. And I thought, thank you, dragons. Hello, Viviane and Jackie and Jilly and Jennifer from Cape Town. You love the elementals. And Sato, did I have time to read your email? I'm sorry, I haven't seen one. Karen and Connie and Kirsten and Marie Claire and Ben. Hi, Sarah and Shaz and Wendy and Rosemary and Nina. Oh, it's lovely to see you all. So here we are. The rose pink, pink dragon came forward to remind me that I was going to show you all this amazing orb, and I'll tell a story about it later. But it's just wonderful the way the dragon came forward to remind me, and I had time to run to the cupboard and find. Hello, Tattoo, Lisa, and Denise, and Abigail, and Gail, and Halavia, and Peter from India, Lisa. Okay, let me start by sharing this lovely story that Julie sent in. And she said, it's quite long, so sit back, take a deep breath, relax. It's worth listening to. Years ago, I was in the woods when I came upon a small ring of trees which was used as a shortcut to the main road. It was litter. I spent some time clearing away the litter and broken bottles and gave each of the trees a blessing. Now that's really important. Then a ring about 3 foot tall, that's a meter, jumped down from one of the trees. He looked like a stout little man in miniature, and he said his name was Brown, and he was looking after the trees, and he'd watched me clearing the litter. I asked him, what can I give you as a present? He said very clearly, listen to this, this is amazing. I like a tune I can hum. Go and make up a song and bring it back to me. So as she remembered a simple and rather jolly tune she'd composed and used to sing to herself as a child. And she said, you can have this one as a present. He sung it back to her, and then they both sung it together. I cannot tell you how full and happy my heart felt, she said. It's like when you smile so much that your cheeks ache. Apparently, when I was little child humming songs to the trees and flowers, he and the elementals had been listening all the time. Remember that. They're there, they're watching us when we're out in nature. They're listening. They're actually looking at us as well. I walk in the woods, she says, and sing his song, he appears. Even if I stand by a tree in a busy street and hum it, he says that he can teleport between things of which are PowerPoints in nature. He's also given me songs of his own composing. I do all my spiritual activations outdoors in the woods, anchoring the gold ray of Christ and archangel energies into the earth, and often visit rings of trees and play them songs on my musical instruments. That is a fabulous thing to do. It is good to send out those wonderful vibrations. The elementals love music and will often direct me to trees who need musical healing or cheering up. One day I think a tree might open up and I might disappear into another world like the children in the story of Pied Piper. And Julie, you've got work to do. And then she says, my goblin friend Brown. Now this is so interesting because I've got a goblin friend and I haven't seen him for a while now since I moved house, but I'll tell you some things about him. Please hum and sing your own little songs when you're in nature. The elements in the air will take your song to every tree and flower and creature, and they will hum and sing along with you in return and multiply joyously. We love being given the gift of a tune we can hum. Thank you, Julie. My heart just leapt when I read your story. It's absolutely wonderful, and it's got so many messages in it for us that we can do. We can't all hum. I mean, I'm hopeless at anything to do with humming or singing or making music. But as we'll talk about during this session, there are lots of things that we can do. Anyway, let me just see who else has come in. Oh, Lindsay and Jennifer, you say you love the Rose Pink Dragon, and Rachel and Helen and Heather and Kazia and Angelique from Florida. How lovely. And Kazia's from Poland. It's really nice to see you all. And here's another story. And then we'll start talking more about the elementals. And this one is from Carol. She says, went out in local woods near my home a few years ago on a tree stump and felt my trouser leg tugging. I thought it was a bramble. So I bent down forward and she saw a wee, maybe a foot tall, that's 30 centimeters, dressed in Hessian and bark clothing. His face was lined, hair wild and spiky, and his teeth by the shape of dogs. His feet were big with brown rags or roots tied round them. I was stunned and said hello. My dog came up to me and the wee man let out a shrill scream, made my dog bolt. Then he ran off fast. What was he? Well, I'm not sure, but I bet there's lots and lots of people here who have got some idea. I think it's some kind of nature spirit. And so I'd love to hear if anybody else has got a clear idea of who it is. Now, I've got lots more stories, but let's talk a little bit about the elementals. And there's some questions here as well. So the elementals are spirits, and they can belong to fire, earth, air, or water, or wood. And some of them belong to just one element, and some can be a mixture of elements. So you've got fairies, and they are air elements. They only have air. And fairies, they're about 30 centimeters tall generally, and some of them can be bigger, but they look after the fairies. And they're mischievous. They love fun, but they are very evolved. They are between the third and the fifth dimension. Now, at the cosmic moment in 2012, a whole lot of them ascended into the fifth dimension or beyond. And Then those that were fifth dimensional ascended higher, and they became angels, and they started to work fully on the angelic frequencies. So all the elementals belong to the angelic links. They're in the angelic realms. And the fairies do so much work. When the mighty, mighty unicorns are working in the above us, perhaps clearing a storm, trying to send light into a war-torn city or something like that, they leave the fairies to hold the energies after they have passed. Fairies do amazing work. I'm looking to see if any questions are coming in, but they're not. So let's talk a little bit about the water elementals. And so, of course, there are the undines, who are fully water, and the mermaids. And the undines help with the flow of the water, and the mermaids look after the flora and the fauna. So, and they're also very well known. What's this? Gunjan. You've sent multiple messages to my team, but no response. You've bought a session on the unicorns. I don't know where you sent to. I'm really sorry. Send that to zoom@dianacooper.com. Respond. Even send it to diana@dianacooper.com. I know that Melissa has had lots of family problems this week. She's still replying to absolutely everything. So I have no idea where you've sent this. We're not receiving it. We reply to everything. You've had that problem. Now, if you did everything properly, you would automatically, it's an automatic process, have received your Zoom. If you clicked at the end so that your payment was sent back to us, then you definitely receive it, and you will automatically get a recording as well. So something's gone wrong before that happened. So sorry, but right, just email zoom@dianacooper.com. David always gets everything done very quickly and very well. Okay. You know, we do our absolute best to reply to everything. Things are coming in on all sorts of ways now, and sometimes we just don't get them. So if we get it, we respond. Okay, so then there's the fire elementals, who are the salamander. And so the salamanders work with the fire. Now, you can do this if you light a fire and you connect with the salamanders. You can ask them you can energize them. See your fire flaring up. But if your fire is too much, then calm, and your fire will calm down. If you see a wildfire or a house on fire, then it gets worse when people get excited, because the elementals all get excited by our energies. They very quickly respond to emotions. And so calm, send calm. Somebody sent in a question about the tornadoes. And of course, the air have gone out of control. This is what's happening. So many people are so confused with what's going on the planet right now. And people are getting frightened and scared. And the air elementals take that energy on board. And then, of course, the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the storms, they get out of control and worse. And you can help it. Wherever you are, you can tune into those elementals in that place, and calm, steady energy to them, and just help them to calm down. I've seen fires, and literally seen fires that have been raging for days going out when we've done this. Just calm. Oh, I tell you, you used to sing when you walked in the forest and the elementals were showing up. You loved them. Buffering, I'm not sure what that means. Oh, it's buffering. What does buffering mean? I don't know if there's something going on here. Shouldn't be doing, because I'm just sitting here quite still. We've done air. Oh, earth. Well, of course, the earth elementals are the gnomes, who are teeny little creatures, and the goblins that we've already talked about in that story earlier. And the goblins are fifth dimensional, very wise creatures. Let me tell you a story that happened to me some years ago, the very first time. I was walking in the forest, and suddenly this being about a meter tall jumped out of a bush and started to walk beside me. And it sounds so stupid in retrospect. I said to it, well, how do you feel about the other elementals in the forest? It looked at me as if I was completely mad and said, we're all one and we're different. I said, well, what do you feel about humans? And he said, we're all one and we're different. And then he turned to me and this light shone from his heart and literally hit me in the chest. It was the most amazing experience. And then, with me a little whoa, we carried on walking the forest until we got to the road, and I had to walk along the road then. And he came a little way with me, and then he started to fade away. And I called after him, who are you? What are you? And he said, I'm Gobolino, a goblin. And I thought, oh, have I been fooled? Goblins have such a bad press. But then I talked to Kumiko about it and he said, oh no, goblins are fifth dimensional. They're extraordinary beings. They are very high frequency, very wise. And when they work with you, they can help you hugely. And so that was my first connection with the goblins. Gobolino was his name. Rachel, you've read articles that say brings for the fairies like sweets and shiny objects. Any truth in this? Well, yes, there is. They love to have friends. And if you leave a little bit of chocolate or something like that, people say, well, that's silly because it's still there in the morning. Yes, but what the fairies have done is taken the essence out of it. They've taken the love energy and the essence of your offering, and that helps them. So yes, leave something for the ever ones. Check out the connection between horses, unicorns, and dragons. And sensing the work for us to do with horses, helping them heal by connecting unicorns and dragons. There are two branches of unicorns, and one of them, they are the ascended horses. And so a unicorn to a horse is like its guardian angel. And when they're connected, they feel so much happier, so much inspired to be all they can be. And it inspires the horses on their ascension paths. And of course, there are air dragons. Now, the unicorns are of the element air and work with the horses, but the dragons are air dragons, and they too can connect much more easily with the horses, the unicorn connection, and they help them. Then they're not so keen, the horses aren't so keen on the fire dragons, but they love the dragons, and the dragons protect them and look after them. Okay, Lisa, you experienced elementals, fairies, angels, and unicorns when you had a farm in upstate New York. You even saw the undines in your pond. How fabulous. And you know, it's really important that we realize that you don't have to see them. You can sense them, feel them. Know that if you're in a beautiful place, there are elements there. And what was said earlier about clearing up the litter, that also helps hugely because it means we're honoring that space. It says, trees were chopped down near my home and you felt really sad about it for days. How can the elementals help? Well, the elementals are crying too. Remember once seeing this place where the trees have been chopped down, but they've been torn down. The energy was so awful that I walked there. But I did see the man in charge, and I thought, okay, nothing lost. You'll probably think I'm a nutty woman, but I went up to him and I talked to him about it. And I talked very seriously about the fact that the trees were feeling and the energy and responding to it. And I also explained that I'd been somewhere else where the trees had been cut down, but they'd been cut down respectfully, and the energy was totally different. Now he did his silly woman grimacing and grinning bit. But I like to think that at some level he heard the message, and so we can help them. Now, when you see that, the person to connect with is Archangel Perlimeek, the Archangel of nature, and he will come and help soothe the elementals because, of course, the elementals are crying out. Teresa says, I've seen salamanders in a fire even before I knew what they were. Couldn't believe your eyes, but there were 2 of them. Great. Have you ever taken a photograph of a light or a fire and it seems to be really flaring up? And that's often the salamanders playing with the energy of the light, street light even, or the fire, because they love to play. All elementals love to play. You live in Tornado Alley, Ellen. Okay, well, then you're a wonderful person to stay steady and hold the energy of the area so that those tornadoes don't do so much damage. Daphne, what can I say about a double-tailed mermaid? Nothing. I've never heard of it. Maybe you need to tune into one if you've seen it and ask about it. I don't know why I'm cutting out. I'm sitting quite still. I'm sorry, Linda. I'll try and talk a little louder. Kiki, you had a dream about a brown dragon. Well, brown dragons are earth dragons. And so as we're connecting with elementals who work with the earth, and then the brown dragon comes in to help you with your connection with earth. Well, I don't know what's going on. I don't think there's anything at this end. You're saying the screen is wobbling. Okay, what about mermaids? Mermaids, flora and fauna. And myth has it, and of course we all know that myths and legends start with psychic people seeing things, about mermaids in the ocean luring sailors and all this sort of thing. But of course what it is their energy, their vibration, their song is very attractive. And so these things that we hear as myths have all happened in the past. Yeah, Christopher, you're very concerned that the 5G grid, I don't know what that is, will in your psychic abilities, or these energies that they're putting out right now are interfering. Okay, Marion says that the screen is breaking up and that means the elementals are having fun, and that's what the buffering is. So I'm sorry, it's perfectly steady here. So please, elementals, just mentally, if this is happening, actually ask the elementals to just stay calm, and ask the elementals to stay calm too. Say that we really want to help. Okay, Ellen, you're doing a lot of work with the tornado land. Let's give you a message. And this is for anyone that's having problems now with tornadoes, weather, anything like that. Which card is coming? Okay, you've got the rat. Be true to yourself and the universe will reward you. And as you know, come from Neptune, which is the spiritual plane of the universe. Lots and lots of beings who are carrying higher spiritual energy come from Neptune. Tiziana says that it's also the effect of Mercury retrograde here coming in. Okay, the rat is a very important card to receive because it says that you have been working very hard and you have not appreciated. You might even have been laughed at and put down because the rats have served us. They've cleared rubbish. They've cleared etheric rubbish. And we just keep putting more and more out, and then we blame them and we try to poison them and kill them so that they're threatened. And so hold steady. Know that the universe is watching you and is doing all it can to you, and that you will be rewarded for what you're doing, even though you've had a tough time so far. So that's the message for anybody who is working really hard at the moment. How can you communicate with elementals in our concrete settings of buildings and apartments? Very difficult. But of course, you can put flowers and plants in your apartment, and the fairies will come and look after the flowers, and the elves look after the trees, and they will come and be in your apartment with you. There are always salamanders if you've got a fire. I have a log burning stove. I light it every night in the cold weather, and it's lovely to see the salamanders playing in the flames. It always lights beautiful. You've given gifts in return for fairies. You used to live next door, wouldn't visit them with gifts. Wow, then your flowers would grow, your plants would be wonderful, and they would be helping you with everything that you need. I'm sorry you got a bad connection, Mary Claire. Maybe you need to listen to the recording of it. That should be fine. We've had this before where people haven't been able to get good connections, possibly because of your internet, and but the recordings are fine. The recordings will be on the website. Oh, Edeltraud, you caught a salamander baby inadvertently in a forest because you took a glass of water home. 2 days later, you noticed him. You brought the salamander back and were so happy he survived. Okay, I would think that that was more likely to be an undine, a water elemental, and he would be absolutely fine, and your love would help him. Okay, now, I've got lots more things to say about elementals, of course, but let's go and answer some of these questions again. This is Sandra. Years ago, the dog and I love it. Dogs always watch spirit with you. Watched a bubble across the room. Had a cheerful face in it, as if someone was driving it. Also had a trail. If the dog hadn't watched it too, I mightn't have believed I'd seen it. The dog looked surprised to see it too, as it probably was. Might this have been an orb? Yeah, it sounds like an orb. Spirit. It was a very cheerful spirit in the orb, and you were lucky to see it. And dogs always look surprised when they see an orb or a spirit going past. Okay. Well, I think that's about animals. Let's see. Oh, now this is not about elementals, but it's very interesting. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just read this one from Patty. You're sitting outside, seeing one of our bird feeders starting to swing, and thought it was a fairy. The more she laughed, the faster it swung. Do you think that a fairy was playing and entertaining us? There wasn't any breeze. Yeah, that is quite possible. And how lovely. I think it's what I do sometimes with the grandchildren. Love to catch falling leaves, and then you have a wish if you catch one. But you can ask the sylphs, the air elementals, to slow down so that you can catch the leaves. Or, and what I've done many times, we've waited for the breeze, nothing's happened. Come sylphs, just send us a little breeze to let the leaves come down, and immediately the tree shakes, the leaves move, and there's a little breeze. Try it, practice it. It's a way of connecting with them. Oh, I missed that one. Fireballs floating in the forest. I don't know. That if that's the elementals, of course, in the fireball would be salamanders, the fire elementals. Now, this is the one I was going to tell you, which is amazing. It's from Jennifer. I had an incredible dream tonight, she says, and I felt I must share it with you. I dreamt that I came across a glowing white cobra in my bedroom, its head upright. It moved away when I approached it, and I couldn't find it anywhere, so I thought perhaps it had left my room. After she woke up in the morning, a friend visited and came across the cobra snuggled under a red blanket on the floor directly next to her bed, on the left-hand side. It had slept by my side the whole night without harming me. I felt it came to help me clear something in my sleep. Jennifer. Wow, what a story. How amazing to actually dream about it. Now, in the dream, it was pure white. That's about purification. It's about the purity of the energy you had. And it's about making a metamorphosis into something that's totally new and pure. That's wonderful. Also clearing, and as you say in the extended letter, the left-hand side, which is your past, which is about women in your life. And so that dream and that reality were completely and truly amazing. Yvette, you saw an emerald green dragon come to me. Oh, it was almost as though it was made of crystals. Shimmering, Raphael's energy. And when they really, really carry a lot of Archangel Raphael energy, they do shimmer like emeralds. Like Nadine says, while caring for my mother before she passed over, I went to the woods daily, and the elementals helped me so much to relieve my sadness. I see them, but they helped me so much. I also saw an earth dragon, because I've always loved that area where I was walking. And of course, the earth dragons are original Lemurian elementals. Some of the higher frequency dragons aren't. And let me tell you this story that I started off at the beginning. As I said, before I started, hi Simon, lovely to hear from you. I haven't heard from you for ages. Hope all is well. I picked a dragon card, and it was the rose pink dragon. Now, the importance of this to me was that I was going to talk about an experience I'd had with a rose pink orb. I was going to bring that orb out to show everyone tonight, and I completely forgot. And I had time after I picked the dragon card to go and find the orb to show you. So this is the story. I had a class in my house. I went out afterwards, and I took photographs into a completely dark sky. And the flash went off, then the flash went off, and then the flash went off. And then suddenly there was a bright pink flash. And when I looked in my camera, this is what I saw. And Kumiko came in, my guide, and said, that is a reward for you. This is Archangel Chamuel, the angel of love, and the deep pink round the outside is Mary energy. And I was so thrilled with this. But next morning I meditated and I breathed. I imagined I was in the middle of the I breathed the energy around me. And then I went into the woods for a walk. And here is what happened. Well, first of all, a squirrel came and danced at my feet. And then a deer just sat by the side of the path, and we looked at each other and sent each other love, and it never moved. And then I saw an elf coming along. The elf had 4 children with it. And they came up to me. One of them ran back into the woods. The others came up to me, and the elf pushed them up. And I literally knelt down in my spirit body, not physically, and lifted them up. And as I did so, my mother came and collected them. One of them was a little boy about 2 with blonde curly hair and a sailor suit. And they were just so happy. And I thanked the elf, and then I went on my way, and I wondered what happened to the child that ran back into the woods. And then I saw the elf coming along, dragging that child along by the arm, and he brought the child up to the edge of this pink that I have on this, and Mary's energy. And as soon as it felt Mary's energy, it came running in and lifted him up, and his parents came and collected him, and they went off with the angels in angel orbs waving. And I thought, wow, that's just so amazing. Claudia, you heard an older man who's chopped trees say that they always made some symbols on the chopped wood for the elementals, so it would not be harmed by the fairies. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it sounds like they're working together. And yeah, Peter, you created a fairy garden, you and your son. My grandchildren love the fairies. They create fairy gardens in their own house, and they create fairy gardens here. And I've often talked about picking up pebbles and crystals and blessing them. And then you can put those into your fairy garden too. Those that live in my yard asked for moonflowers this year, and you've just planted them this morning. How fabulous. And how lovely that you can listen to what the fairies say. Judith, can I share my insights? So whether we each connect to a specific elemental, and how do we work this out to develop our connection? Well, I guess people are more connected to fairies, and some people are more to goblins or to salamanders, and some people are connected to all of them. And if you are connected to one or all of them, walk quietly out in nature. That's the best way to develop your connection. Just go out. Remember this all. It's not by chance I'm showing you. There's no reason why you shouldn't do exactly the same thing. Surround yourself in the energy of Chamuel and Mary. Then walk quietly in nature and see how the physical animals and the elementals respond to you. It's a magical thing to do. Now, feet flat on the floor. Looking at this orb, breathe that particular color vibration into your aura. Just feel that color surround you. The color of Archangel Chamuel with a pure white angel of love right And the more you breathe it out, the bigger and wider that big around you. And then feel the deeper pink of Mary placed all the way around the outside. Wherever you are now, inside or outside, ask an elemental to come to you. You may see it, or you may just sense it, but trust that an elemental has come to you and is drawn to you by that love energy surrounding you. And the elemental could be earth, air, fire, water, or a combination. Ask it what it is. Have a sense of what it looks like or feels like. You might even hold out a hand and ask it to jump on your hand. Some people literally feel the elementals tickling their hand when they do this. Maybe your elemental has a message for you. If so, what does it want to say? Is there something you want to say to the elemental? And then just open your eyes. And it would be lovely if you would share how it felt in the pink orb, what elemental came to you, if they had a message for you, if you asked them for something, and just see what your connection is starting to be with the elemental kingdom. Hat says that she saw a small red orb floating in front of her for a couple of seconds. Beautiful. It's nice. Marie Claire, hope your connection's getting better. Your animal card today is the tiger. Very strong, very powerful. Something about gnomes, Tanya. Gnomes are very tiny. They are fully earth elementals. They're very, very shy. So you rarely see them. And they work with the deeper layers of the soil and rock. That's one reason you don't very often see them. But obviously, people like Walt Disney, they knew about them because that was his sole mission, to draw the attention of the world to the elementals. And look how beautifully he did it. Karen, you like the leaf story and love it when the wind comes up in response to a request or a question. Yes, it's something can ask the sylphs to do, to tell you that they've listened to you, they've heard you. Marie Claire, you dreamt of 5 buffalo. Wow. Okay, did I share the story of the cobra last Wednesday? I don't think so. I think it only came in after that. Ah, Catherine, you saw a leaf moving around and you and your dad both thought it was a fairy moving it. It probably was. Hi, Andrew Mundia from Niagara Falls. Oh, Niagara Falls, that's frozen over this year for the first time in ages. Hi, and Liz. Oh, lots of new people joining us. Rather late on, but we still any questions? And to talk about the other elementals. You want to know if it's good or not to live on a ley line from Barbie. The bottom line is it depends what you want out of life. There are some people that live on fault lines and they want the excitement of it. And there are other people that just hate that and don't need to be near that at all. So there's no right and there's no wrong, just it is to us. Sheetal, can the elementals help with climate change? Well, I don't think they can do that, but we do something and they can support it. And the reduction of toxins and plastics in the environment, I think that's something that humans are going to do. But having so said, in 2012, I think it might have been a bit sooner, Archangel Metatron and Archangel Butalel, who's in charge of the cosmic currents, they sent out a plea for elementals to come and help clear the toxins. This is the question. And little tiny weeny elementals called Isaks came in. They came in from another universe, and they came in specifically to eat up the toxins. Now, I did talk about this last week, I think, and they're often found, they often come up in photographs too, where there's been drug abuse and that sort of thing, and they are consuming all the energy as well as the physical. And it's the same in the oceans. These tiny little elementals called Kaihils came in response to that request. And they are in the oceans. They are consuming the oil and also the energy around it, plus I think the toxins around the plastics. And so, yes, this is a process that has started, and that is the way that the elemental kingdom is helping us, which is amazing and fantastic. And maybe we need to ask the Intergalactic Council to send them to help this happen quickly. Oh, Kimber, you saw an orb yesterday. You don't know where it was reflecting from, but it was very colourful and had a ring around the outside, inside it. Inside it had many rings and bubbles that were moving, looked like a petri dish. All of a sudden it multiplied into, I'm sorry, I can't read any more of that. How fabulous. And how lovely that you're seeing it. And orbs don't have to reflect from anywhere because they are angel energy and they have their own inner light, which is lovely. You know, this is the difference between an orb and just a bubble. It has its own inner light, which scientists have apparently proved. Shauna, you're able to communicate with animals, but you've never been able to describe how. Does it matter? My family referred to me as an animal whisperer. How do I explain to people that I understand animals? Just tell them that you can communicate and that this is one of the new energies people are bringing in this ability, the oneness. It's part of the Lemurian wisdom coming back. The ability to be so at one with animals or another creature or an elemental that you can communicate with them, or a plant even. And when you communicate with them, you just know. And that's it. Just tell them that you just know. Right. And Sheetal says, oh, okay, Sheetal, you're on here tonight. I was watching The Lord of the Rings again, and so much of the films shows the elementals, elves, goblins, tree herders, and horses. Fascinating how at the end of the film, the wizards, elves, etc. pack up and leave and declare it's time for the kingdom of men. Do you think there was a reason this film was made from the book in the early 2000s and has hidden messages for us? Do you feel writers such as Tolkien get inspiration from the elementals to write books like this and films? So it kind of wakes up a generation. Well, the answer is yes to everything. The angels and the elementals impress those who are ready and those who have the qualities to bring something forward. And then they can bring forward what is right, and they guide us and help us all the time. And so I do think it's absolutely right. You know, every big film, every important film has got a reason. Every film that gets well known has a reason. Titanic, that was brought forward at exactly the right time with all the water and the drowning and all of that to help bring up the trauma about the fall of Atlantis to start to clear that energy. And that's what it did. Right, Deirdre, you gathered pebbles and crystal rocks at the beach and scattered them in your garden and in your house. Just take each one, put energy or fairy energy into them and bless them. And then each one of those pebbles and crystal rocks will be radiating that magic. Absolutely, Pat, I agree 100%. We can all communicate with animals if we do so heart to heart and are prepared to listen. Do you know what often it? And that is ego. Now, the ego is the fear that you're not good enough, the fear that you haven't got it right. And if you can let go of that and just have a heart connecting to that animal, or that tree, or that elemental, it's amazing what you receive and give. Oh, Lorna, the clairvoyant told you your ancestors had fairy blood. Interesting. Oh, isn't that interesting? This colour, you mean? Albe, I'm an animal communicator. This is the exact colour I use to connect my heart to the heart of an animal. Well, it's not surprising, is it? Because this is Archangel Chamuel, the angel of love. And of course, that is his exact colour, because that's the orb that I put on my camera. So, oh, Janice, you were told to get outside. Yeah, that's your message from the elementals. Oh, Miriam, the fairy clearly on my hand. That's lovely. People often feel a kind of slight tickling as the fairies on the hand. Very first fairy I ever saw was the most amazing one. And it was a cat mint fairy, so it was a kind of lilac, this colour. And I was in one, and it was a cut cat mint. It was a vase of cat mints, and it was at Findhorn. Findhorn, of course, the spirit community, where they listen to the elementals and they communicate with them and grow plants according to the elemental guidance and the angelic guidance. And I was listening to this lecture, but she listened years and years ago. Listened to this lecture, and obviously my mind wandered, and I looked at the plant, and I saw this fairy about this tall, bright, radiant, shimmering bright, and I thought, whoa, am I seeing things, what's going on? And I watched, I looked away, and I looked back, and it was still there, dancing around this bowl of catmint flowers. And then I had to concentrate on what was, and it vanished. I moved out of that dimension. And it's all about tuning into their wavelength or their dimension. Oh, you were visited by a violet fairy who gave you a cup of nectar. How lovely. That's from Alison. How are the serpents on medical symbols really energy within us, helping? One bright Chamuel pink and one Archangel Michael blue. They come through in drawings all the time. Fun. Oh, how lovely. So you have Chamuel and Michael come through, bringing you strength and love. And Alba says, a little fairy came to me fluttering her wings. She told me to be light. I should shake off the heaviness, take off the cloak of the world. What a wonderful expression. And of course, that is part of the work of the fairies, is to lighten us up, help us to see the fun side of light. You had an elf who told you that love is everything. Isn't that beautiful? And of course, they are so wise, these little elementals that help the garden and help the trees and flowers. It is so bright and light, the fairies nails are. Sorry, there's not one here from Ned, I think. You may remember me in your early years with the discovery of books. How can I give reassurance to a friend that the wild dog, the dingoes, are being looked after by the elementals? And I can't, because the dingoes aren't looked after by the elementals. In general terms, animals and elementals aren't connected. Since 2012, they've had much more of a connection, but that's not really what the elementals do. They're looking after the fauna, the flora, all of nature. And but Archangel Zariel and Archangel Michael look after the wild dogs, just as they look after all the dogs. They're helping them to learn about discipline, about family life in a pack. But of course, they are not connecting with humans because they're wild dogs, and that's not part of the experience they want in that lifetime. Oh, Ilka, Fairy just came to you and jumped in your hand and whispered love. Oh, Barbie. Oh, first Jennifer, a little green earth came. He had my garden and sent love. He hugged me. Oh, I think that's him. His name is Elvis. Beautiful. And Barbie, a very tiny thin fairy, parent, reminded me that I got lots to finish with the garden. I was very pleased at how I've been feeding neighbours' cats every day, or left outside in all weathers. Oh, okay, and it's another thing that says they are watching you. They know exactly what's going on in your world. It is amazing. Okay, Nadine, so heartwarming, the orb. I was visited by, oh yes, that orb it is, isn't it? This water breast cancer. I felt the air, and he said I have to go out into nature more often. I asked him how to heal my flu, and he said I should slow down and work less. That's a message for all of us. Hanneke, something was sitting on your hand. Oh, you had a yellow flower fairy. Message was to be more carefree. Yes, they are helping us literally lighten up. They are air elementals, and be more happy and enthusiastic. Okay, Una. And Nick knew you felt your feet tingle. There still are. I think it's earth elementals. Any idea? Well, it could be. We've only just touched on the tip about elementals. They are so interesting, so completely fascinating. They bless us, they work with us, they heal us. And it's really great. And it's gone so quickly. Where do the elementals go during the cold, snowy winters? Well, they're etheric beings. They're not physical, so they can just disappear into their own realms, into their own dimensions. They're not affected by weather as we are. Oh, and Lisa, you saw a beautiful little fairy. You automatically put out your hand and felt it dancing and tingling in your hand. Brought it to my heart and blowed it a kiss and thanked it for the wonderful work they do. That's lovely, Lisa, that you could do that. Oh, and Kirsten, I'm sorry, I know we're going to run a bit over, but the fairy Fiona visited and told me I'm taking good care of my flowers in Sweden and the plants here in my flat in Denmark. Great, that's really nice that you have that message. Lindita, yours is still covered, it won't come up for a minute. So too dear, but okay. So next week, I'm so excited about next Wednesday because it's a Zoom and we are going to do Lemurian crystal healing. Now, I'm going to talk about the wisdom of it is very profound, very important for now. And I think that it's really, really an important Zoom. So the Lemurians created their crystals, as I'm sure you know, energy from the aura of Earth, of other stars, from source energy. The crystals, you can recognize them by the striations and lines, recording lines they have down them. And they are very, very beautiful and clear, full of energy. The Lemurians were healers. They were heart healers with pure love. And in fact, they were one vast energy, one group consciousness. And the swallows, if you see the swallows all moving together, it's because they have a group consciousness. And this is part of their wisdom. They actually embody oneness. And they are teaching us to embody oneness. And we've been talking about the elementals and nature and one nature. And the Lemurians, that's what they embody, this absolute oneness, the feeling of the tree is feeling the flower, and that is true wisdom. And so we're going to be talking about Lemurian crystal healing. We are going to be doing Lemurian crystal healing, where you link your heart to everybody else's heart. And as you do so, we'll be doing healing for everybody on the Zoom, individual healing. We'll also be doing healing for the planet and waking up the crystals in the planet. It's really, really important. And I'm so looking forward to doing it. So special. And and then the week after that, I'm going to talk about the meaning of your name, the importance of the letter, which will be totally different, and I hope you'll enjoy that. Lots more to say about the elementals, but maybe we can do that again another time. And lots of love to you. Thank you for coming and joining us, and hope to see you next week for the Lemurian healing. You do not need your own crystal. We will all tune into one crystal with our hearts. Lemurian healing is about. It's a oneness healing. Thanks. Bye-bye.